So this game is like incredibly good in my opinion, but I also see a lot of people bouncing off of it. So I'm going to kind of stream of consciousness through, I don't know, just some beginner things, things I wish I knew, slash like I think you just kind of need to accept to like the game. I don't think any of them are that bad. There's one or two beginner traps that I think are a bit rough and maybe should be toned down, but they've already made some good changes in the first patch to help with some of that. So let's just dive in. So obviously start campaign. I have only played Alchemist. I've done a custom Alchemist with just mentalism, but for right now I'm just going to talk basic Alchemist so I can maybe extend this into a second video and show kind of an opener of sorts. And I will say one of the few gripes I have is that the crafting alchemy school and pages really kind of over synergize with nature, and that like if you don't pick nature as your primary school, it's a little more punishing than I think it should be. I don't know how the other two are, but yeah, getting nature as a primary school, especially as you're learning, is quite important if you're doing alchemist. Well, I won't say quite important, but you're going to feel like you're just not getting to use some of the tools you have. So, highly, 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 highly recommend starting on Golden Fields. I see a lot of people starting in other places because they're like, oh, I've played games before. I played Age of Wonders 3 a ton. I played Planetfall quite a bit, even though I like it better, honestly. And I walked in this game and just got destroyed. And I was playing on Golden Fields balanced, but like, just partly I was a little rusty, but partly this game, it does not play quite the same, and you need to keep that in mind. So we'll go there. This is where, if there were custom mode, I'd say just make sure this is on time to explore. Since there's not, going to balance puts you on world progression balanced versus time to explore. I highly recommend this no matter what your skill level, because in some ways this game's a little bit of a roguelike, or maybe an RPG, where you start learning things based on knowledge that you'll keep with you into your next run. And that'll make this way easier. So at some point you'll go, okay, I know enough about the map and the crafting and the world now, I want to jump up to this. Now, if you're really like tactics games and you're really, really good at them, and I don't just mean the combat, I especially mean the economy, great, but again, this is not your standard one where you get to zerg out and build 20 bases and produce 40 units a turn. You will only ever have one base, so you need to really pay attention to how the economy works. It's not actually that hard, it's just a little different from what you might expect. And if you're just like, well, I'm going to build a lot of gold units and I'll find plenty of gold, you're going to have a bad time. So I'm going to put it on Explorer because that's what we're talking about. I would gladly move these three at least up more, and leave these two where they are as an example, but can't do it. So let's hop in. For those that don't know, the map is static in that the cities are always in the same place. The topography is always the same, but there's still a lot of stuff that is sort of randomly generated. Your starting spot is always the same-ish. There's still some variety there. So you will still have a lot of different choices as you play, but just know that, like, if you absolutely need random maps, that's not going to happen. However, the map is absurdly huge. I can't easily give you a scale of this because obviously this is all wiped out, but on the one run, I got the farthest on before I got a bug when they patched the game. I think it was just it wasn't worth checking what the error was. I just couldn't load the game anymore. I had probably 80% of the map explored. So, it's huge. Don't care, that's cool. We're going to skip all the story stuff there. Alright, so your starting stack. Really quickly, one of the things I think I'm a little critical of about this game for is that you get these people with follower at the start. So your starting stacks all have follower. And I think that's a mistake design-wise, at least on lower difficulties, because it really punishes you then if you happen to lose these units. If you've played lots of tactics games, especially Age of Wonders style games, you'll probably be fine. But I highly, highly recommend doing everything you can to not lose them. And to the devs, in the off chance they ever listen to this, I would prefer to just have these not have follower and to start with more gold income to offset this to work out to neutral so that it doesn't punish people if they make a mistake in the first 2 or 3 fights, which is kind of early to punish. Now, it wants you to click on these. Inventories, whatever. Tower, you're supposed to like build an alchemy lab because it's all you can build. I don't recommend that. Gold is the most scarce resource in this game. All of this junk, pretty easy to get because you're going to get a lot of all fire and it can be converted into whatever you need. You can't convert it into gold. So you want to get your gold up and going as fast as possible. Now, depending on how you play this out, different things will happen. I'm going to fight them just to see, kind of show off the combat and see if I lose a guy. Obviously, if I auto-resolve this, I might lose someone. I have actually lost him in a fight once or twice before. Due to poor positioning, mistakes, not thinking it through. And, you know, that's on Explorer, sadly. So, okay, cool, they're coming outside. They're not the brightest at this difficulty. So, for those who don't know, melee units in this style of game are usually best, especially like air quotes trash melee units like this that have very, very low health. It's usually best to run them up and defend. So like I'm going to stand in the trees so I get cover from them and get less damage. So can you make it to the tree line? You have to go to the other side. Well, that'll still cover these two squares so they can't just rush past without taking opportunity attacks. So defend, we'll see how this goes. I normally group them up, but this should be fine. Defend, and then I'm going to move him to where he can get an attack. If I stay in the blue, I get 2 attacks. If I go up to the green, I get more, but that's exposing myself a bit much, so we'll go up here. Lob some mental bolts. And end turn. Whee! And you hit space to speed up animations if you don't know that already. They're a little slow by default. I think they could stand to speed them up just a bit. Okay, so cool. My guys took very, very little damage. I don't have any healing. So the only question is, can I kill this guy? Because I feel like if I can kill this guy, and actually no, he's behind the wall either way. So we're going to definitely kill this guy. And then... So the thing I'm thinking about is I really don't want either one of them in the open, not in guard mode. But I do actually need to blow up this wall. However, he's only got 2 actions left because he spent 1 action fighting them. I could flank this guy and definitely kill him. I'm wondering if it's just better to defend, though, and let him murder them next turn. I think... How far away are you? Yeah, I'd be in his farther range, so I think this will be fine. I just really hope it kills him. Yeah, of course it does. Boom, boom, okay. So this should be fine. Yeah, he's even better. He's attacking the wrong unit. This is what the lower AI does. They make very suboptimal plays. You can still get wrecked by them if you get overconfident, though. I have definitely had moments where I'm like, oh, I've got this, and then suddenly everyone's down on the ground, or I've lost like a unit I've been leveling up forever. I'm trying to decide if it matters what wall I blow up, because either way I can come around. Main point, I want to get my melee unit next to them, because then they can't attack from range. I'm not even sure if it matters, because he'll probably just die. I don't run up and defend if it's to attack a ranged unit, because they're almost certainly not going to attack back in melee. He's going to try and run away, and I get an opportunity attack, and that might just kill him. And even if he runs away, turns around and shoot me, he's probably wasted enough actions that he's not going to kill this unit. However, if there are any other units alive, I'd run up and just defend in his face, because again, I don't want them to die. So, I think this should do it. Yep. Cool. So, basic fight down. Small strategy there. Not much to say. Just the basics of how these work. And again, I didn't show it, but you should also click on units and see the resistances. There's a better fight coming up to show that. And I just very highly recommend, if you don't know how these tactics games traditionally work, or whatever the heck they're called, I guess 4X tactics? I don't know. Don't just rush in. Always defend your melee. Okay, so... I like taking it because I'll get more health options later. I always like making them tankier, because again, I really would like them to live. Huh. No, those aren't bad. This one's really, really good for what we have. Cool, I got money, and that's the important thing. I got money. Because I got money, how'd these spawn, by the way? Can I get there? I cannot. Sometimes you can get there in 1 turn and also start the alchemy lab this turn. We're going to want a shaman. Shamans scale into the late game. You don't always have to have them, but they're an AoE healer, and that is not common. They buff other goblins in your stack, which should matter less and less as you go on, and they've got some pretty good level ups. Some are incredible. The rest are at least decent, if not good enough. So Goblin Shaman's always good to have. However, it's going to cost me 2 gold to turn an upkeep, so I'll be at minus 2 gold. So what we're going to do is we're going to go build a workshop, and we'll get our alchemy lab next turn. So that's turn 1. Is there anything else we're talking about? There's some more meta stuff, like about, again, how the game should be approached and whatnot. Remember, this is your only base ever, and you need to pay attention to that, but we'll talk about that more in a bit. level up, or rather, good fun stuff, blah, 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 blah. So now we've got research, we've got new spell. It lets you choose what you want for research. I'm going to tell you right now, though, that 99.9% of the time you need to do Summon Enchanted Wisp first. Like, there's probably people better than me out there who are like, there's a situation where you want to rush Aid or Primordial Forest, or just do Wisp. And as for spells, I'm not going to cast any yet. We don't need it. We're not about to fight, and even if we do, we'll run them over. I am going to grab these because I do need to get that Alchemy Lab started. And now I've got 25 gold. Tower, Alchemy Lab, build. Can I make it to you this turn? Actually, this one's probably more important. Again, I kind of know a few things that are going to happen. Just note that you can click on these and you can see how many units are there. They will scale up as time goes on. So your starting stack should usually, especially on Explorer, be able to handle whatever is there. Maybe less so on higher difficulties. I haven't experimented too much with balanced after bouncing off it like 20 times when I was trying to learn, and then finally humbling myself and dropping the difficulty. Again, would highly recommend because I love this game, and I probably wouldn't have if I was just bullheadedly losing over and over. So Alchemy Lab constructed, even though it was still fun to explore. So now I have Alchemy. I get my new Alchemy quest. Cool. Alchemy. I'm not going to spoil a bunch of this. I really think that a huge part of the game that makes this fun is learning. And, going into your next run going, I can use that next time, or, I could have done that earlier, or, now I can do, that, again, quasi-roguelike accumulation of knowledge. But that said, I have to build something, so we're going to get rations. Rations are stupid good. It's one of the things that makes Alchemist very good in the early game. It takes one action, it heals 15, anyone next to that unit or themselves. You can target one unit. And that's incredibly powerful because basically, your melee units can use 2 rations and then defend, or they can move, use a ration, and then defend. It's just a really good way to keep your early game units alive. That said, we'll go to the book. It's going to tell me I need to craft things. Let's go over here and beat them up. Yeah, and as you can see, it's just a straight-up route. If you see this heroic victory and nothing's flashing, congrats, you can auto-resolve. You may not always want to auto-resolve. Like, you might want to... It's not going to use your heal spells or your enslaves or your whatever, your cool stuff. But if you would like to save some time, that's what you do. So we go there, we get this. He might be handleable right now, but he might not. I could lose this unit. I'd rather not. And again, that's, kind of overkill, so we'll just end turn. More story. Yep, that's fine. Cool. The story is actually quite interesting, but that's part of, again, what makes this game good, but not right now. So, now that I've got wisps, I need to make a wisp, which will take 2 turns. Cool. Let's go to the hamlet. This is kind of important here. Depending on what you've done, depending on whether you've got your workshop cooking, depending on what you've hired, I highly, highly, highly recommend being nice to these people and using mana. Now, again, discovery is a thing, and it's important, but if you're having trouble, show them you mean no harm, let's trade. Yes, trade is that so hard to fathom, and then I suggest doing cantrips, because again, mana becomes pretty easy to come by. Gold continues to be a constraining point throughout the early and mid game, so you have mana. You'll get lots more mana. I always get this from them. Now, maybe there's, I think, different things you get from them if you go other ways. This is, I think, in some ways kind of a trap. This is the important part right here, and this is also kind of important. So, a pleasure doing business with you, blah, 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 blah. More alchemy junk. We'll go over that in a moment. So I have a quick choice here. Oh, and I have a second higher slot if I want. I'm not going to use it because I'll just wind up in financial problems. You can see I can only hold one more unit in the stack. It's going to be the Goblin Shaman. I know I'm going to get you more units in a bit, but they come with free units, so hey, cool. Do I want to go for you? Just get it out of the way. Yeah, sure. Doesn't hurt. We'll see how it goes. So, next up, I highly recommend Primordial Forest, because you'll see. A variety of reasons, actually. There's some quest-related reasons, and there's some others. So now I've got a shaman, and I do want him to join the stack before I fight. Not just because I want the healing, but because I want to start leveling him up. XP is quite important in the early game. Also see I'm losing gold slowly here. I'm going to mention this now because it took me a while to find it, and I think it's worth knowing. Let's say I had 3 mountain coppers. If I put all 3 mountain coppers in here, I would get a dwarven ignition. Because that's it, as you can see, it takes 3 elemental pips, and I've got 4. There's no specialty for going for 4. However, certain items, like if I do 3 of these, I get a ration, just like before. If I do 3 of the ashes, I get a flintstone, which is a 2 pip version of the elemental option. So ashes is 1, this is 2. There are certain items you can combine to make better items. You may not always want to do it. There's a lot of strategy to it, but for right now, I gotta make a ration. There's a lot of interesting things you can do, like your starting runes and nonsense. I'm not going to go into that because, again, don't want to spoil too much. Let's try and keep this video a little short, huh? Get a workshop. Hey, I've got +2 gold. Cool, my income's good. Blah, blah, blah. Let's go kill them. We are going to fight them first. Ooh, I actually have to try. It's not too uncommon. I guess this is as good a time as any to show a few other things. So, yep, they're done. They'll come outside. Hooray. Yeah, that sucks. So these guys, as you see, they have white resistance. It is worth clicking on enemies you haven't seen before and scrolling through their stuff. You don't have to read every single thing, but you really want to notice what their resistances and immunities are, because it will change your fight completely. You can do this while they're on the map. Again, I'm going to show more of that in a bit, but just be aware. So, and I can even, as you can see, I can hover over him and see expected, like, what's his damage going to be on this. Now, that's assuming he uses his ranged attack. Can I see his melee? Yeah, that's his melee, but that's assuming he runs 2 actions and then does 1 hit. So again, use this information so that you don't just give away units. Speaking of, the Goblin Shaman makes the other goblins more powerful. So he's got Goblin Leader, +2 willpower, +2 damage. And then he's got this, Healing Spores. I'm going to cast Healing Spores right now, because while it gives them -2 armor, it gives them +6 melee damage, which is really quite nuts. At least I think I'm going to... Ooh, am I going to cast it now? Yeah, I'm going to cast it now. I'll be fine. So I'm going to hit... Actually, ideally I hit these, because I don't want the Shaman in melee. He has 35 health. This guy melts when things look at him. And then you run up, and I've only got 1 action, and he's willing to brawl with me, so I'll just guard. And then you run up on his left. You could get double attack there. Okay, so if I go here, this guy could attack the goblin here, and this guy could attack the goblin here. And if this guy was still wounded, that is enough to lose him. That's how I messed up and lost units. If I go here, this guy has to take an opportunity attack to go to attack me here, and he probably won't. So I do recommend making sure it's hard for them to double attack you. And I'll still control all these hexes. Also note that if you don't guard, you only control the hexes in front of your units, which in certain battles it's very easy for them to flank you and turn you around. So once again, another reason you want to guard a lot. And then we're just going to bomb them in. That's beautiful. I get the double green attack. But even with 20% white resistance, he's just doing, a boatload of damage. I should have moved him up and then done the heal. I wasn't thinking, but it's not going to matter. I was wrong. He still gets double attacked, and as you can see, that damn near killed him, so I didn't think that through. It's a good thing I healed first. That's why I healed first. That has actually saved his life. Well, okay, the heal dropped him 2 armor. He just took, what was that, like 5 attacks? So that was 10 extra damage that I wouldn't have taken, so he'd be at 22. Okay, maybe he would have been fine even if I didn't do the heal first. But point being, I healed him about 15 health-ish, and now he's alive. So, I do highly, highly recommend it. Doing all heals before you end your turn, because that way they'll be healthier for the next fight. I do have a next fight, though it probably won't be that hard. And they're dead. Use your ranged unit. Again, I've only played Alchemist, so I can't comment too much on the other ones, but hopefully this stuff is generic enough, it kind of just carries over. Conquest of Eo. Alright, so again, leveling up. Let's see here. As I said, prefer defensive upgrades on these early guys, because keeping them alive for a while really helps your economy. However, when I see unique stuff like that, I tend to take it. Just, being able to have them burst out damage is nice. Now, I get a nice reveal of the map here. I'm not even going to show what's over there right now. But I do not get the 2 gold and the 2 research that it provides, because it's not within my domain. We'll talk about that in a bit. Can I get there? Ooh, I can't. Oh, well, it doesn't really... It kind of matters. Huh. So, if I could have gotten there, it'll say, hey, you can use alchemy, or you can fight them. I normally fight them, because more XP for these guys. But since I screwed this up a little, I know that I can just alchemy them, and they'll go away. And I don't remember what the difference here is. I always pick the top one these days, and then start the meld. So melding is important, gets your off-layer online. I have now another alchemy slot. Am I going to bother to show? So you really should read what this does. It's a catalyst that puts -1 on things, so you can do junk like this, and turn 2 potions of fire elemental. Sorry. I forgot how you do it at the start. There's some wacky way to do this that I'm forgetting. Oh, you can use this. So you put that there. You use this as an ingredient. That's what it is. And then you do. Oh no, I remember now. So what you do is you do this to get 2 more potions of fire breathing. You turn your 1 into 2, and then you can turn that 2 into 4. The potion of fire breathing is actually quite good. However, I'm going to rant a little bit at length about one of the early fights and how it can feel like a trap. So just know you can do some kind of neat, like, step laddery stuff. If you've ever played Dominions, which I normally wouldn't even bring up, but this is possibly the kind of crowd that has, it's a little bit like how you can use crafting to just jump into a bunch of fields and build more stuff. So we're going to get a Flingling Stone. It's like I can drop this and put in an iron and get a Dwarven Ignition instead. Again, those are kind of weak for a reason we'll see shortly. Once again, not hiring anyone. Actually, I lie. I should be hiring another Goblin Shaman. I know I've got a stack coming and I'm going to want it, but that's just because I know. So I've got Primordial Forest now. Generally what I do is no matter what it unlocks for me, what I get? Awareness. I go back and get aid, because at this point, you want aid. I don't actually use it all that much, but it's only 16 research points and everything else is going to take forever. And there's nothing so phenomenal that you can support that, you know, I'm aware of anyways, that you want to do that right now. I kind of want to be in this area. I kind of want to see what happens if I go there. Let's go over here real quickly. I guess I am doing what I talked about. Let's get 2 potions of fire breathing up. You want to be crafting ASAP because there's a mission you need to complete for it. Oh, it's up here. Shoot. Oops. Oh well. Not a big deal. Oh, and yeah, I should have. I made a mistake there. I should have immediately started to cast. You'll notice I have 9 mana a turn now. 1 second while I go through all this. Okay, this is the thing I would want to talk about. I should have immediately started to cast Primordial Forest. It's not the end of the world if you didn't, but it's worth having. So I need to get over to there. I'm not going to make it in 1 turn. We'll just murk this guy on our way over. Easy heroic victory. We'll just auto-resolve, get some experience on him. I generally take damage on my ranged units over health, and even the shaman, which dies if anyone looks at him, the damage tends to matter more in the long run. White damage is not as good as missile damage, for the record, because the Goblin Shaman, small spoilers, can wind up with other damage channels, and then this doesn't do squat for that. I've had units that are like, you know, resistant to white, but my white damage channel is still way better than anything else. Yeah, I still don't make it, but I end my domain, which I think heals them a bit more. Did more crafting. We're very crafty. I'm not going to waste these runes on it, because they're actually... these are some really good starting runes. This one less so, in my opinion, but... So then I could do that. I also don't want to spoil a bunch of stuff, and I know I don't need this, so... Dwarven Ignition. Yeah, Dwarven Ignition. You really need to keep crafting in the beginning. Doesn't hurt to have those. I barely, if ever, use them, but it doesn't hurt. So finally, the Militia Outpost. This is a big, big moment in the early game. Again, I think if you're good at this game, there's a lot of ways you can handle this encounter, and you get different stuff, and you can do different things, and you get different people. I don't remember if there's another way to get the outcome I'm about to get, but I know that if you have at least 10 gold, you can give them 5 gold, then give them 10 gold, and you get this guy. I think Cutthroats are a really, really good unit. Getting them early is very important, and most importantly, yeah, that's neat. They are a tier 2 75 health melee unit that has a ranged option and comes with serrated blades. So, and some white resistance. They're just great. So, who's going... Oh, and it showed me the city. You have piercing attack, and you have flanking, right? Yeah, backstab. So, piercing attack is less useful in the early game. You get to be a babysitter of sorts. You can go around and pick stuff up. You get to join the main stack. And since we're over here, I like to go over here and get this cleaned up. Because for those of you that don't know, this is where enemies will spawn. Enemies will engage from here. And it's also a thieves' den, which not only gives you one treasure, but enables the hiring of thieves, this guy, while in your domain. So if you happen to lose a bunch of units, or if you want to start swapping out your goblins, thieves are a good option once you have the economy for it. Again, you can't quite do it right away, but it's not bad. So we'll get some experience on him. Once again, it thinks the shaman's going to die. It's wrong. You can auto-resolve those for the record. It does not mean they definitely will die. It means they might die. So if you're dealing with a fairly trash stack and you're like, I don't care, go for it. So once again, as long as they have to move twice to get there, I don't care. We'll just rush up. He'll take full damage. You'll take full damage. I could have Berserker Spored them, or Healing Spored them right out of the gate. I chose not to, because I just don't think it's necessary. I just want to make sure they can't hit my range units. So you can go there. And you can go there. And even then, they're all going to be in guard. So we'll just end turn, guard all. They like prefer to be in melee. He's on fire. Cool. You have flanking. I have no way of causing a flank easily anyways. So where do you need to go? I need to go one more. Yeah, so as you can see, I can tell what kind of cover they have. So the green shot is obviously the best. Let's focus the weaker one. Also because this guy can come over in here and help get the kill if somehow I mess this up. So I'm going to not attack with him because he only has one action, and I want to make sure he ends his turn in guard because I know this guy's going to hit him next, and I don't want to lose my melee unit. So the goblin will take very little damage, which, only one attack, and then, you know what, just to be safe, boom. Now not only are they healed back up, they do +6 melee damage. They're going to really wreck this guy when he tries to hit them because he got all of his actions back. So, boom, and I do 19 damage while he deals 11. I do 19 again, he deals 9, I do 19 again. So nice and easy, nothing fancy. This video is way too long, sorry about it, but I don't know how to make these quicker. Well, if I could learn to edit, that would help, but here we are. So, cool, Den's gone, I get more gold, and I'm off to a nice, comfortable start. Let's watch that fall apart. Does he have anything he can do? Can you go this way? I think he can go pick this up for us. He's the outcast right now. Open the door, neat. This is always your first hero as far as I can tell. I don't want to listen to him. Now, you'll notice that I got 2 wolves and an elven ranger. You may not have gotten this. It depends on your primary magic school. If you pick base alchemist, this is what you got. If you pick something else, you got something else. This has really, really helped with the difficulty of the early game because it used to be another goblin stack, and due to, again, a fight that's coming up, it was a problem. So, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. All right. So it didn't show off one thing I wanted to show off, which is kind of important. Sometimes, when this spawns, it will take your goblin camp, and then when you go to higher units, you can't because it's holding the one thing that summons them. I, again, feel like maybe you should just start with the building that gives you goblins to build, because you generally build it very early anyways. But whatever it is, what it is, this spawns though. Now he'll probably have fire elementals with him if you're on a higher difficulty. I believe up to 4 on the highest. He is very cool and a very big noob crusher. He's fearless, so that probably doesn't matter. But more importantly, he has 50% elemental and 50% white. So if I were to look at my stack, where's my stack? My main stack that spawned right next to him. White damage, made of paper, tier 2 melee. Thank God I've got him, right? And you might just have this guy over here if you didn't know that, or like a militia or something. Non-white damage, white damage, non-white damage, non-white damage. So you really want your apprentice to be in the fight because it's an extra unit in the stack, but he's pretty much stuck on healer duty because his main attack is quite weak. His melee is like they do 22, he does 18. I think in comparison to the cut throats, yeah, 22 again. Is he better than this thing? No, he's Yeah, he's actually worse. I didn't realize that. This has normal melee. Good to know. Real quick note on units while I remember. These guys are fantastic, which means they can be summoned. You see it right down here. Fantastic. It also means, as you'll notice, they don't gain XP. So while fantastic units are good to round out a stack, that's because they take your mana income, which remember, we can get lots and lots of mana, as you're about to see. But they don't take your gold income. Gold units are therefore generally better because they take an income and they can gain XP and scale into ridiculousness. But if you need to round out a stack, a fantastical unit is fine. The wisps that I've got, the one I sent over here, they're actually quite good units. They hit a nerf in the very first patch, and I think they're still more than good enough. They fly, they're resistant to a lot of things, and they're ranged. And they can scout and fight, and they're great at rounding out a stack. So either way, we've got our stack of guys over here. What am I going to do? I'm going to send him up here. So you can wait until he comes to your tower, because that's where he's heading. And if for some reason you're not really ready, because your units have been damaged, or you don't feel you can take the fight, or you're waiting for something, you can go instead and put down his little build lodge item, ability. All apprentices have this, and it extends your domain. You need to use this. Remember you have it. I don't refresh it as often as I should. These things all will mostly burn out. If you don't keep building lodges, your income's going to be terrible. So, speaking of income, let's talk about Fire. This is why I say mana's so easy. I am getting plus 16 right now if I absolutely wanted. So I could spam out some wisps if I had a reason to. And there might be some reasons you would do that. Again, I don't want to spoil certain things, especially about the map, but those of you who are a little more clever and creative might have already figured it out if you've played it. That said, I pretty much max proficiency in the early game. Getting your mastery up early, it's kind of explained to you right here that you're going to get domain radius. So I'm going to have this in my domain suddenly. That's why I cleared it earlier. So I will have plus 5 gold income. And, oh, I should also, while I'm here, build a study. It is worth building a study. Again, mana's cheap. I'm going to get an apprentice slot, so I can get a second apprentice. And I get 3 more rooms. And for the next level, I get a domain race, apprentice slot, tower rooms, and a stack slot. So my currently with an apprentice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unit stacks can now be 6 unit stacks. That's a huge deal. You really want to rush your mastery early. I don't think it makes that as obvious as it should, given how important it is. I sort of like just left it in the middle at the start. And while I think if you're better and like have a specific research you want to blitz, or you like do want to spam a bunch of wisps, there's some arguments for doing other things. But again, if you're just learning the game, do this. You will be very, very happy you did. So I need to select a research. I got aid. Because I got aid, now it should show me another one. Cool, summoning. Summon jelly. I will generally focus whatever's cheapest at the start, just so I can keep revealing other things. And again, because it's going to take me right now a bunch of turns. I could change that, but I don't particularly care too much about summon jelly or anything else I've got, so that's fine for right now. I just crafted a bunch of stuff, met a bunch of people. Do I have anything to craft? This is a rather annoying start, because I really don't want to waste those glyphs. Let's, actually, while we're at it, we're going to kit him out with serrated blades, which won't matter in this fight, I believe, and Undertaker, which will. Undertaker is just great because it gives you a solid remains income, which means your death. Building anything that requires death is becomes so much easier. So we're going to go up here. You're going to donate a shaman to the cause. And now we're left with an interesting question, because I have this tier 2 melee, but these 2 wolves have pack tactics, which gives them plus 1 damage, but they only have 60 health to his 75, and they have an elemental weakness to white, which he doesn't do. So, let's see how it goes. You guys come over here. We're going to go 2 steps that way. Yeah, you can pick that up. And then you're going to double back and help. And again, that knocked 5 turns off that, so another reason not to worry too much. Am I done with that quest? I am not. I am about to be. Well, no, I'm going to be 1 short. Is there anything I can craft? No. Not that I want to, anyways. Yeah, he will basically ignore your guys. Alright, Primordial Forest. Finished. You always start with this in your domain, so you can always drop the Primordial Forest there. I'm not going to get the bonus because it's contested domain due to this stupid thing. but we'll drop a forest there. As you can see, it generates 1 all fire, so that's 1 more point I could be putting towards proficiency, mana, or research. It also synergizes with some quests that you're going to get as an alchemist later. So we want to kill him, because otherwise he's going to go pound on our door, and, you know, we don't want telemarketers? That's not the word. Door-to-door salesman. So we'll go here. Sure, cool. Oh, geez. Excuse me just a moment. Yeah, it's fine. I just want to get that done. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, because I do plan on continuing this game. Alright, I could auto-resolve this because now it's a heroic victory, but I'm going to show this fight because, first of all, in higher difficulties, he's going to have buddies, and second of all, I think this is the biggest noob smasher moment in the game right now. It is by far one of the hardest fights because there's not much you can do about it. And if you're an alchemist, depending what you do, you've got like, oh, potion of fire breathing. These look good. 3 hex damage that will do 20 elemental to 3 tiles and can apply burning. Wow, that's awesome. Shame then that he is elemental resistant. Of note, I'm going to mention this again for like the AoE fan or Age of Wonder fans. Elemental resistance is all elements, so there's no like acid versus water versus fire resistance or anything like that. It's all just under elemental. So it's elemental, white, death, physical. I think those are the only damage channels. Maybe I'm forgetting one. So check his range. Make sure he can't move in blue and hit you twice, and definitely don't get next to him. Right, like I could go up here and like, oh, I'll stop him from moving. I gain nothing from that. I'm going to put this unit at 1 retaliation by wasting 2 actions to get up there. Well, I actually think it'd be 3 because it refreshes at the start of his turn. Nonetheless, he will smack me 3 times. That's a lot of health I could stand to lose. It's a lot better to force him to come to me, as he has no other option, even when he has his elemental. Pack tactics is fine. And now we've got our hero. So again, I've got some cool stuff on him, so I might actually attack. He's basically a healer at the start. I am not going to drop Zerker Shrooms on this because functionally we'll just regret it. Oh, right, I have Rangers, not... Wow, that's really good. Yeah, that's worth taking an attack on. He's not going to walk around and hit the Ranger, and even if he does, I'm pretty confident I can handle it. So, yep. Remember, if you have rations, which you should, use them in this fight if you have any trouble. Yeah, he does the dumb things. I've got him set in dumb mode. Flanking is really strong. Use it. So we're going to come around the back, flank for a free hit. He now looks this way. Now, he could wreck this dog next turn. Don't get me wrong. So I think we're going to do... Yes. Is there any particular person I want to attack with? Yeah, it's got to be her. She's going to do the most damage. Flank him for a boatload. And then, yeah, as you can see, he's going to wreck that other dog. He might just kill it. This could have been a mistake. So I'm going to guard, because now he only almost kills the dog rather than one-shotting it. Yes. Can I walk in and hit you? Is it worth just to make sure you don't have... It's like I'm considering hitting him to lower his number of actions, because instead he'll spend a turn beating on him, but whatever he beats on, he's probably going to kill. So we're just gonna go over yonder, and yeah. Why is it telling me? Oh, I have no move. Why? There we go. I'm just gonna get a flank on him, get a little bit of extra damage. I probably would have gotten more just hitting him twice, but I want him kind of threatened from both sides. And then again, 1 more flank shot. I could have gotten it without moving, but I want to be positioned differently. Let's see what happens. Boom, 16 damage, 10. Boom, 15 damage, 9. Boom, 20 damage. So yeah, if he'd rolled high on all 3 of those, that would be a dead unit, and I would be very sad. Yes. But he didn't, so you heal. Yeah, it'll be fine. You heal. And you murder him. That's the way to handle this. As you saw, be very, very careful. He will punish you tremendously for any little slip-up, and on higher difficulty, he has friends. There's 1 more fight I'm going to go ahead and show. I know this is a ridiculously long video, but I can't help it. I love this game, and I want to talk about all of it. I will be doing another shortly after this, just rambling about why I think this game is great from a more design-oriented perspective. My other shaman's done. So you need to go link up with, where's my other stack? Do stacks. Oh yeah, that's right, I sent them that way. So I'm going to drop, once again, probably this guy out so that I can put this guy in. And then crafting. So now I'm not as under much pressure, I believe, to craft, because, oh, nope, I need one more set of potions. So I do want to craft. So, yeah, let's show off. I can do that to make another 2 potions of fire breathing, 2 for 2. I can put one more orange in it and waste a Dwarven Ignition, an Iron, an Ash, whatever, and throw the Potent Water on it, and I turn my 2 into 4. Normally you use like a pumpkin or something to do this. I'm just going to do it though right now because I kind of don't care. Potions of fire breathing are actually quite powerful, except in this like incredibly specific starting scenario it forces you into. So, you know, that sucks, but here we are. Now I can hire soldiers because this isn't my domain. This is all because I put my all fire into mastery. People get angry at me. Stuff happens over here. God. Okay, this is actually... I'm going to talk about this because I wasn't planning on it, but this is a common thing that could really, really suck if you're a beginner and you don't think all this through. For those who don't know, this is a death area. There's a few ways to get in, but there's a lot of units, and they're very powerful. Well, they're not very powerful, but they're all death units. And it can feel like if this happens, you can spend a lot of time messing around down here trying to get here, not sure how to get in, or you can spend a lot of time up here trying to get in, but there's an easier way. And the answer is wisps. So what I'm going to do is now, I just got my proficiency level up. I'm going to try and get my wisps. Can I get them in 1 turn? Yeah, so where's 1 turn? Right there. We'll make lots and lots of mana. You are the wrong guy. Go there. Yeah? Yeah, cool. Blah, 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 blah. Sure, why not? Yeah, it's fine. I'm kind of just racing through these. I really do want to spend more time testing them and whatnot, but I kind of also don't want to spoil the fun at this point of just, like, doing what I feel. However, be careful with that. If a circle mage asks you to do something, even if it's like slaughter a village, you should probably slaughter that village unless you're really good at this game, or at least, you know, feel comfortable in these things. You'll see that I can hire soldiers. I've got a +5 income right now, but all of that's coming from there. This will run out in 11 turns. It tells you right here. I need to keep that in mind. If I build soldiers, I'm about to have some major frontline problems. Do I want to keep you guys? I'm just trying to think of how I want to upgrade my stacks for just a moment. I probably want at least 1 soldier so I can get this goblin guy out. They can run around and do other things while my main stacks actually accomplish things. So we'll go ahead and train a soldier. And I don't think I need that many units that I'm going to try and train to. So, the next really hard fight. Again, much harder on any higher difficulty, not that hard on this difficulty, but I want to show it off. So we'll go in. You could have cast a spell on it first, like Corrode. I don't think it matters too much. Again, this is a heroic victory. Again, I'm going to show it off just because, you know, I've got the domain of minus regen, which doesn't really matter. However, if you are trying to get your guys to regen, don't park in an enemy domain. So yeah, they'll walk up and stun you, just like so. And on smarter difficulties, they won't actually put themselves out there to do that. So my doggies are now stunned. Once again, simple rule, dogs don't have a ton of health. You can defend in melee.
Yes.
Let's check damage channels and resistances. They're fantastic, but they're not resistant to anything. It can get around attacks of opportunity. That's important, though. So we need to be a little bit careful with how we position our guys. Or we could just not care and try to nuke it to death. What do you do? You do 15 and you do 18, so you're actually the stronger unit. Can I get to green? I'm going to move to yellow here, just so I've got a blocker on the hex. Take the 1. Yeah, they are resistant. Why did it not say that? First strike, nimble. Oh, no, that was the range penalty. I'm sorry. We are definitely going to heal this guy, just in case. I probably should have moved up before I did that, because it ends your turn. And then since I can't get up to like, well, I can get up to green, but I feel like that's incredibly risky. I'm just going to move here and ranged attack. Yeah, range penalty, 50% damage. On turn, smack the wolves. Yeesh. Yeah, that is the downside of wolves. They are made of paper. So you're going to come up here.
Yes.
And you're going to come over here. We're going to play Heal the Wolf, because the wolf will explode. And this is, like, you know, this normally has other units supporting it, and that's how quickly I almost lost a unit, just running up and defending. So yeah, I think taking the Cutthroats this fight is just better than taking the Wolves, because the Wolves are good at damage, and maybe good leveled up. I've never really leveled them up before. The patch only just dropped. I think... Yeah, again, I'm just going to run up and guard. I can't leave one not in guard next to him unless I can actually lower his, or lower their actions by fighting them with them in melee. I am, however, going to move over here so I can start doing easier flanks. So on turn, they'll smack the wolves, they might kill it. Oh, they're killing that wolf. Yeah, like that quickly. I'm playing a little sloppy just because I'm kind of testing things and I'm tired and I wanted to show up this video. And I'm not going to restart because of this, but especially on Explorer. But yeah, if you were like, oh, I want to do a wolf strat, well, now you're down one wolf. And again, if I were to attack into this, I would just die. So, defend.
Yes.
Murder. Yeah, I mean, that's probably what I should have done, was just blitz her down. Murder. So I will take loss. I should have just auto-battled it, honestly, but I wanted to show that that's how easily you can lose stuff in this game if you're not paying attention. Because while you'll get to guard the first turn, you don't always get to guard the second turn. If they can kill you from full, then you die from full. So what do we get? Do I really like Lucky? I'd actually want the melee damage. I feel like Lucky's mediocre. Pack tactics, cool. Oh, this is a good example. Anything like this where it gives +2 mana a day, +2 research a day, +1 gold after fights, things like that, those are usually very, very good. But I think this is cool, so I'm going to take it. I probably wouldn't recommend that, but I want to try things. And now this goes down, I get control of all my stuff again, and I get this guy. So you're going to want to cast that pretty immediately, so I forgot, even though I was trying to cast a Wisp, I need that instead. And what it does is you're going to find out, small spoilers, is it's going to let you move your Spire around. In a bit, 11 turns and 9 turns, these are going to run out. At that point, you need to move your Spire ASAP. So if you haven't been casting Move Your Spire, cast Move Your Spire and dump all your All-Fire and mana so you can move fast, so you can get it off the ground faster. Where you want to move it, I highly recommend hitting Shaper Secret, or in a moment it's going to show me an All-Fire node, getting that in your domain. These kinds of places unlock when your tower is closed. Not your domain, your tower. So I could build this and have that in my domain, and it won't work. It'll just say, oh, it's conflicted, you can't do anything. Speaking of, now that we're like getting into the real game, put down your domain. It's going to give you more money, it's going to help you out, and it's going to change what you can hire. It's also going to make it so if your apprentice dies, they have somewhere to respawn rather than having to wait very, very far into the game. Well, not very far, but quite far if you accidentally lose them early to respawn it. I got Stardust. I can do next to nothing interesting with that right now, but I will be able to soon. We've done everything else. That's fine. Cool. We have liftoff. 3, 2, 1. Let's skip this. Not really. Oh no, as you'll see, that kind of broke my place. I can only hire 1 unit now. Oops. I need to study this. Boom, this unlocks a bunch of quests. Is there anything else worth showing? Yeah, the wisps. So what I'm going to do, as I mentioned, can I get you faster? No. If you want to really min-max, like notice I'm trying to just find when I go from 2 over here to 3. Okay, so we'll go to that because I want as much mastery as possible right now. You're technically a babysitter, but I could have you go and pick up quests, but I don't want you to get in a fight and die. So you're just gonna nap. I'll have a use for you later, maybe. You do a thing. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Let's do it. Cool. Alright, so you could follow that. You'll notice I found this gate. This is the way into this area to fight a bunch of undead stuff. This is probably the stack to do it with if I put my hero on it, because it's more white damage. Oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot. I lost a unit. Go join up with that team. So I could go over here and do that. Small spoilers, but if you haven't noticed, I saw something up there, and the game will always show you, generally when you take this, this village over here. Both are worth visiting. Villages are very powerful. Keep in mind that they're an option. So I'm not going to go into here just so I can kind of show something off after I cast that wisp. So where's stuff to do? Let's go do that. Now I've got my domain expanded, and now I'm making more gold per turn. I'm up to 7, so when I get this guy, I should be okay. It'll get a little rough when these run out and I uproot my tower and move it around because then I don't have a domain for a bit. But that's how you manage your economy. You've got to make sure you're putting down these huts from your apprentices, and that's why you want to rush mastery stuff so you can get more apprentices because they're very, very powerful. Unfortunately, my first apprentice is down here in Miserable Land, so we'll fix that shortly. Oh, whoops, other way. That's fine. What do I want to do with you? Yeah, let's do what I said and go visit the city, just so you can get a little idea of what cities do. And then I'm going to cut this video. This has already gone longer than I planned, but I want to show off the Wisp thing, so I'm going to show off the Wisp thing. Execute save path. I wish you could make that faster. Oh, you can. Right click. Cool. +1 word map movement. Nice. Study constructed. Nice. That helps my research tremendously. And I have a Wisp. I can summon the Wisp anywhere in my domain. Well, I want to get down here quickly. So, let's summon the Wisp down here. Now, if I were to take the direct route, it's going to be something like this. I highly recommend moving in, max vision movements. Like, okay, I can go to there, then I can go to there, because you will sometimes run into things on your way there that will make you very sad. You may have noticed there's also an all-fire node here. It is always there. You can, if you want, take that quite early with Wisps. I think it's a very good strategy to do. But having an early Wisp, again, this is affecting my mana economy, not anything else. And I've got +5 mana a turn and not a lot to spend it on at the moment. So cool, good for me. Got my 10 potions. This is why you generally want nature to start. This controlling the pack. Have control over 5 beasts. If you want to get 5 beasts quickly, nature's the way to go. Especially because there's a spell you might get that allows you to turn your primordial forest, I did get it in fact, into more beasts. So it's very important to keep an eye on these kinds of spells because, again, remember, it can feel really, really brutal trying to keep your economy afloat if you spend a lot of gold on gold upkeep units. This one costs... What do you cost? I forget where I see it. I want to say there are 2 a turn, but I forget where. Oh, no, they're a follower. That's right. All these are followers, too. So I lost a follower unit. That really does kind of suck. But I know you have money? Yeah, upkeep 2, upkeep mana 0. So anything that comes from your spellbook that I've found usually has a mana upkeep. Mana upkeep is much easier to manage because you can tweak it as needed. Like, oh wait, you know what? I've got a lot of stuff. Just jack it up. Otherwise, leave it nice and low. All the way low? Yeah, all the way low is fine for right now. Study build, blah, 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 blah. Let me quickly check my tower. I don't have anything else I can build yet. So let's go hike over here. Yeah, we kill that. And I'm going to auto-resolve that. That's not even worth our time. So city, I get some quests here that I can do. Highly recommend doing them. Notice they already really like me because I was nice at the beginning. And I can buy human workers, which is something the game wants me to do for my quests. So let's buy 1 and 2. Cool, I've now done part of my quest. I have 2 workers. I need to contact one other major city, which those of you who've been paying attention probably already know where it is. Don't keep them in the same stack. If you have a stack of 4 workers, your benefit is really good. If you've only got these 2 workers, you really don't get much from having them in the same stack. So you'll get things in 3 turns instead of 4, but this way they can hit 2 spots at once. It's generally more efficient to split the stack. So once again, where's my worker? There's plenty of things to do over here, but we're gonna get. Where are you going? Where did I send you to? I sent you up there. Okay, then you're gonna go get this. This guy can also harvest, so he can start helping the workers later as you phase him out of your army. I'm going to keep him for right now because the white damage is fine. We'll just move. I killed that, right? Yeah. I often wind up building a domain building over there in a bit. Ah, okay. If you attack my wisp, you can retreat, and retreating usually works well. Here we go. So, oh, they're going to kill my guy. No, they're not. Retreat. So, as long as they're at above half health, generally, you can be pretty risky with these units. I, just straight up ran him over there like a Rambo and was like, it's okay. So he's going to go here, restore his movement, and then he's going to come down to this ruin instead and mine that. You're going to go there and mine the thing he just used. Well, harvest, technically. And now, as you can see, my wisp is already there, and I can pick a buddy. I have never seen these ones before. I almost always get the death choice here instead of anything else. I've always had death. I'm going to take this one because I want to try some combat mage stuff. I really like melee units, and there's not enough in this game, in my opinion. Although, both of you have Elementalist. She gives you all fire. I don't know. Actually, you can inspect them. So, yeah, he looks pretty good. He's a combat mage. He can get up there and rumble. And you... That didn't help at all. Yeah, that's pretty rough. I would probably take him. Collect. And now I got a buddy. Now, getting him out of here is a trick and a half, because he's not exactly well positioned. And I didn't get... Oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. Sorry, really quickly. That's also something worth doing early. If you don't think you can, you'll be surprised. Again, you might need to use your alchemist stuff. Notice I haven't used any alchemy stuff in the fight. If you need to, use them. All of this junk in your inventory, these consumables, worth using. So heading to a fight like that, especially if you have some ideas of what to build when, a fight like this, really can be jump-starting your game. And I don't think this requires... You do not have to have this within your territory to do the combat. So I now know I probably want to send a stack this way that can deal with these units. If I click on these units, well, these are wisps. Here you get to see Mental Bolt, 16 damage, white at range, melee attack. This is why humans can be quite good against wisps, because they get white resistance quite easily. Ethereal means they have 50% physical and 50% elemental resistance, and that's really annoying. So hitting them with white, you'll basically want to hit them with white damage, and you'll want to tank with things with white resistance. This guy's basically the same thing. White damage and white resistance. So, we're at the city, we hired people. I would normally take these quests and keep going, but I think this is as good a spot as any to stop the video. Actually, that's kind of a crummy thing to do. I need to, in theory, evac this guy out. Depending on what you picked, you'll have different spells that can help get people out. I did not unlock the spell I need to get him out of here. So what I would probably do is start sending him some wisps, because he's in an undead land, and I don't want them to take 8 turns. I want them to take, what is max, 2? Oh, no, they can take 1 turn, so I will let it take 1 turn, because I need to send him reinforcements, and otherwise he's just going to kind of sit down here and die. I'm probably not going to move him this turn, just so he doesn't get ganked. Yeah, and another important thing to do, maybe, is because he's not doing much, I might even throw down a domain. Granted, he gets nothing in this area, so probably not. Like, obviously I could get that, but that requires a rather difficult quest. But, yeah, that's where I stand there. I don't have anything cool there. Awaiting orders, waiting orders, waiting orders. Yeah, we'll cut it here. So, hopefully that helps. Dear God, an hour. I have to do these faster next time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I think this game is great. I'll ramble about it more later, and hope you all have fun.